following is a paid advertisement program provided by Premier Investments and Wealth Management. An airing of the program is not to be considered an endorsement or recommendation. The opinions expressed are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily of this station or iHeartMedia. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. The opinions voiced in this show are for general information purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial or tax advisor prior to investing. The information in the following program should not be construed as an offer to sell and is not intended to replace the advice of a qualified tax advisor or legal counsel.
Hello there, friend. Happy New Year, and welcome to the 2025's first edition of the Premier Investments and Wealth Management Financial Program. My name is Doug Wagner. I'm your host for this. I'm going to introduce you to gentlemen that you probably should know. You can get to know them at premieriwm.com because if you go there, you can look up and make an appointment with him online. But also, Roger Abel is available by calling 800-383-6590. PremierIWM.com, though, is where I want you to go, whether you're listening to this over the phone and maybe got your cell phone out with you. Just open up that browser, your tablet, laptop, your desktop, however you're doing it, go to PremierIWM.com, click Get Started, answer a few questions, and they will produce for you what's called a one-page Premier Vision document. That's really cool because you can find out whether you are ready or online to retire when you want to or you're not. Let's say you've already got a financial plan with a wealth advisor. This is a great way for you to get a second opinion, and I highly encourage you to get second opinions on anything you can. PremierIWM.com, click Get Started. They will offer you a free, no-obligation consultation to go over and hand you over that document that has goals, has first, second, third steps in there, all the information that you need, and then you're more than welcome to come on board with them. You don't have to bring a checkbook. Heck, you don't have to bring anything to you, but you and a good ear and a good jaw because they want to talk to you a little bit, okay? PremierIWM.com is the website, or again, call 800-383-6590. Now, for the first program of the year, I want to introduce you to the man who's president and wealth advisor, Premier Investments and Wealth Management. He's got over 21 years of experience in the financial services industry. He is an accredited investment fiduciary. In addition to being the AIF, he's also TBK, the Big Kahuna. His name is Roger Abel. Happy New Year.
That's a way to kick it off right, Doug.
Yeah.
Good to be back for 2025. TBK. That's what you're going to I like that. Everybody wants a three-letter acronym about their name, their nickname.
I know.
So, question.
Yeah.
What was the New Year's resolution?
The New Year's resolution was to continue losing weight to get to my ultimate goal of 185 pounds.
Okay.
Stalled out a little bit because in the holidays I said, you know what? I'm going to give back a little bit just because. And I've not gone, that didn't do bad. Can't complain. But the ultimate goal is 185, so I have a little play.
Well, I think for me, health is not a goal. I mean, it's a goal, but it's not my resolution.
Right.
During the fall time, my weight always fluctuates up. You've got Thanksgiving, Christmas, all the good treats you're going to. For me, springtime is to get the beach bod back.
Yeah. Ooh, beach bod.
I'll do what I can.
See, I'm going to the beach at the end of the month, so I got to have it back sooner. That's my whole thing.
Where are you going?
Key West.
Oh, then you told me that.
Yeah,
That'll
first time out of Key West.
I've never been to Key West. I've been to Florida a bunch, but not Key West.
Yeah.
So hopefully everybody listening, you're still on track for your New Year's resolution. Unfortunately, we know 23% of the people have already quit. I know it's only the 5th day of the month. 23% of the people have already quit statistically. If you're one of those people, no big deal. Go back, listen to our previous show, use the SMART acronym.
Yep.
Set a very specific, measurable, actionable goal and set a new one. Just because you're done doesn't mean it has to be done for the year. Set a new goal.
Yeah, don't give up. You can do it.
Make it easier.
That's what they like to say. Hey, I love these kind of programs because you go to PremierIWM.com, you hit Contact Me, and you send in your questions. Like Ann did. We're going to do listener questions today, Roger.
Fun.
Is that okay?
I enjoy the listener questions. And the first one, I'm already reading it. And I've had a lot of questions on this in the last 2 months.
Yeah. Every year, Ann says, I see news about Social Security being underfunded and running out. I'm 61, and I've had people tell me I should claim right at 62. So my question is, will Social Security really go away? And should I claim early to get what I can? Very interesting question. And this highly charged political atmosphere.
Well, Annie, we appreciate you sending your question in. And first thing I can assure you, you are not alone. This is probably in the last 60 to 90 days been the number one asked question by customers of mine.
Right.
Is what's going to happen with Social Security. Everybody's super concerned about it. You're not alone. Nationwide, an insurance company that's out there conducted a study over the summer, found that 73% of adults are worried Social Security will run out in their lifetime. The breakdown is 79% of millennials, 77% of Gen Xers, 66% of boomers, 66% of Gen Z. So almost 1 in 4 believe they'll not get a dime from Social Security.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the reality of this, okay? People have seen the headlines. They're all over the place. Social Security trust funds projected to be depleted by 2025. And that's fact. Based upon the way we're going, Social Security is 100%.
2035.
2035.
Yeah, that's all right.
Oh, geez. Now I'm going to just incite panic in everybody. 2035. Thank you, Doug. So is it going away? In 2035, there's still enough funding from FICA tax, that's the Federal Insurance Contributions Act. Those payroll tax revenues will still fund at about 80%.
Okay.
So if nothing happens, no legislation, no politician wants to tackle it, which nobody wants to.
Right.
They don't do anything. Your benefit's going to get cut 20% across the board. Here's what I think everybody who is pondering this question should think to themselves. If everybody had a 20% reduction in benefits from people who are 25 years old to people who are 75, what would happen? What do you believe would happen if everybody just took a 20% cut across the board?
Well, okay. Great uproar would occur.
It's more than that.
Yeah.
It's economic calamity.
Yeah.
Most people, their largest check is their Social Security check.
Really?
50% of America, that's their only retirement.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
most of America doesn't save any money.
Right. I guess
So
you're right about
their
that.
100% of their retirement income is what? Social Security.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the most popular retiree program in federal history, right? Because it pays. The problem is it's never changed. When Social Security came out, what was average age of death?
Oh, probably
66.
Okay, yeah.
Guess what it is today? 85. Have we changed anything?
Yeah.
Not really. So rather than sweeping reforms, what's likely to happen? There's likely to be small changes to help shore up this program. You know, what could they do? Well, they can make benefits not available at 65 instead of 62, right? Every year you delay it, it gets better for the program.
Right.
They could raise more revenue, right? I mean, I think there's certain things that probably will happen with Social Security. Do I know this for a fact? No. These are my opinions.
Right.
My opinion is likely they'll start having people contribute to FICA again if you make over $400,000.
Yeah.
If you're employed and you're making over 400, you're going to start contributing back to the system and get no benefit from it.
Right.
2, they'll likely means test it at some point. Means if you make too much money from your other retirement income sources, your benefit is going to be reduced or go away.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's spousal benefits that are out there that, you know, one spouse could have never worked and is eligible for half of the others. There's a lot of things they can do to clean it up.
Right.
Will it be fair? Probably not. Will it be equitable? Nah, likely. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
Most things in life aren't fair, but they're generally equitable. Here's what I could tell you. If Congress doesn't act before it's depleted, there will be just an across-the-board cut to shore it up. Does that mean you should file Social Security right away? You shouldn't panic file. You shouldn't. You should look at your situation and say, hey, what puts me in the best opportunity to win? And then do you really believe that any politician is going to allow this to just take a massive cut because of what that would do to every single retiree who's living on this benefit?
Exactly.
People need to not politicize this as much and just really think about it. Do you really think that's what they're going to do? Now, If you're under 40, if you're under 30, first question to ask yourself is, what is my benefit?
Yeah.
You know what the answer is going to be? You know what the common answer is if you're under 40?
Zero.
You don't know.
Yeah. You don't know, and you're thinking,
You don't
I better
know.
prepare for life without that potential.
Most people under 30, I think, don't even plan for it.
Yeah.
I don't. In my world, what I planned for, I know it'll be there, but no part of my planning is Social Security part of my financial plan.
Yeah.
It's going to be my gravy. My wife goes, what's our Social Security benefit going to be? I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
When we get it, we'll go buy something cool with it.
It's so interesting because I had a former boss who was chairman of the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Banking and Financial Services, and one of the things that he would talk about when he would make speeches, and he'd say the number of people who believe in UFOs is greater than the number of people who believe that Social Security will be around for them when they retire.
It's part of a political agenda that gets pushed.
Yeah.
We're not going to do away.
Well, no, but it's just like over
Yeah.
time, you just like they believe that it's not going to be there. It's not going to, not that it's not going to be. Just it will evaporate or fade into the sunset.
Well, I mean, realistically, if you want to be a really responsible saver, when you create a financial plan, you can plan for a 20% reduction in benefits.
Yeah.
We can model that. Hey,
Right.
what do you think is going to happen? Well, I don't think it's going to be here. Great. We'll take it out of your plan.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's probably the planning for retirement and handling it all on your own is probably the most mature way to do it.
Right.
Versus having anything else in there. Like, you don't, okay, yeah, government takes away. Great. If I didn't plan on it, it can't hurt me.
And that's the critical thing, is making sure you do have a plan. Get your financial plan, Premier Investments in Wealth Management. It's a three-legged stool, you all like to say, because the money for your retirement comes from three main sources. What are they?
Yeah, Social Security, pension if you have it, and your personal savings. It's the only place it comes from.
Okay.
And unfortunately, one of those legs of the stool is being removed for most people, and that's the pension. You know, you can build your own pension if you needed to. But if you're worried about future Social Security, just plan without it. When you put your financial plan together, say, I'm going to assume there's no Social Security here.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Makes sense.
It's how I planned for it. And then guess what? If you get $3,000, $5,000, $7,000 a month, are you going to be better or worse off? Just better.
Much better. Yeah,
Just better.
exactly. Now, and by the way, this isn't like your tax return money that the federal government has used interest-free the entire time. This is just like you making sure that you're good to go. And that's, like you said, Roger, gravy. Thank you, Ann, for checking at premieriwm.com and sending over that note. We're going through listener questions to this program. And Premier Investments in Wealth Management, available at premieriwm.com. Make your appointment at 800-383-6590 with Roger or one of his associates. Go to another question from Janie, who asked, I have a decent amount of money in my IRA, and I just turned 73. I need to take out about $75K for my RMD, but I don't really need the money. I downsized my life and moved close to my daughter and grandkids after my husband passed away a few years ago, so my Social Security and pension cover my living expenses. What are my options if I don't need the RMD money? First of all, RMD stands for?
Required minimum distribution.
Okay, thank you. And the IRA is part of a federal law, and they have all this information there, and you have to take out so much by such times, and that's part of the financial plan.
Yeah, so just to let everybody know what a required minimum distribution is, when you do a pre-tax IRA or a pre-tax 401k, which is the most common way that people have funded these in the past, at some point, the government would like you to pay some tax on this money. And at 73, typically today, is when you'll have to start taking it.
Okay.
And it's about 4% of the account. It's a little less. It goes up each and every year. It's all based upon the uniform life expectancy table that the IRS publishes. So first off, I'm going to congratulate Janie, because if your RMD is $75,000, means you have about $2 million in there. So you did a great job saving.
Well done.
So well done. I want to congratulate you. A couple things to just evaluate if you don't need it. If you don't need any of this money, which she's already said,
She lives off
doesn't.
the pension and Social Security.
The most common thing that we have people do with an RMD that they don't need is they pay the tax and they reinvest it in a non-retirement account.
Okay.
So they keep it invested, based upon the results of their financial plan and their appropriate asset allocation, and just keep it invested. Because as you know, if I put it in somebody's bank account, it's typically going to disappear.
Right. That you mean if you put it in somebody's bank account, that means if you take it and put it in your own, or if you give it to family members.
Yeah. Which, hey, if you're not spending the money, maybe gifting is a strategy that we'll actually talk about. But number one, you can invest in a taxable account. All that means is if you have your IRA on one side of the table and you have a non-retirement account on the other side, just draw a dotted line. That's the tax line. It's all the IRS cares. Send it all to the non-retirement account, pay the tax, keep it invested.
Okay.
It's the easiest thing to do because, the accounts that we usually utilize are fairly liquid. So if you need the money, you can still get it.
Right.
The IRS just cares that you pay the tax.
Right.
So that's the first thing. If you don't need it, you can do a non-retirement account. And I'm having fun. I threw it on the floor. It's 2025. Get them off my table when we're done. Who knew? Second, gift to charity.
Yeah.
If you don't need the funds, one of the things you can do is what's called a qualified charitable distribution. We actually see this happen a lot. This is where you send the money directly from your IRA to the charity.
Really?
Okay? Doesn't get added to your income, just goes directly to them. It's tax-free to them. You can actually do this at 70.5. Okay? If you do it before 70.5, it gets added to your income and then you get the deduction. After 70.5, goes direct to the charity, doesn't get added into your income.
And if it's a 501c3, then this is something that's tax deductible.
Correct. It'd be a charity. You can only do the qualified charitable distribution to a 501c3.
Okay, that makes sense.
You can do up to 105,000, 2024, 2025, you can do 108. And that counts towards your RMD. Okay. So if your RMD is 50,000, you don't need it. Let's say you're a single individual, no kids, no beneficiaries. You don't need this RMD.
Right.
Great. And you want to gift to the church, or maybe it's Wounded Warriors or whatever.
Yeah.
Something
Parks Foundation.
Whatever.
Yeah,
like maybe you want to have a sign in the park with your name.
Yeah.
Do a qualified charitable distribution. You don't pay tax. Neither does the entity.
It's a good idea right there.
The next you mentioned, gift to family.
Yeah.
What's our motto, Doug?
What's that? Oh, it's better to give with a warm hand than a cold hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't need it, watch your family enjoy it and use it and do what they want with it.
Yeah. And it doesn't hurt to give it for a specific thing. Like, for example, I know that there are families, what they'll do is say, hey, I'm going to give you a gift. Here's X amount of dollars, and you can give up to so much, and you'll get into that per individual. But the whole point of it is I want you to use this to take the family on a trip to go somewhere beautiful that the kids can find out more about X.
Yeah, I think if you give a gift and you would like it used a certain way, give the money some direction. Most people will follow the direction.
They will, because they want it again in the future if you're going to do it.
Right. So for 2024, you can gift $18,000 per person per beneficiary. Here's how it works.
Okay, but for 2025, where we are,
$19,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess, that's 24. We're not doing back. We're 2025, $19,000. Here's how it works. Grandma and grandpa. They got 2 kids. Grandma can gift $19,000 to child A. Grandma can gift $19,000 to child B. Grandpa can gift $19,000 to child A. Grandpa can gift $19,000 to child B. Right. If there's grandkids, you can keep it going.
Oh, I see.
You can keep it going. You can gift the money to whoever you want. Just not more than $19,000 per person per beneficiary. Now, this doesn't reduce your tax burden
as the gifter
from the RMD. You still have to pay the tax in the RMD. What it's doing is removing it from your long-term estate.
Plus, it also increases potentially the tax burden on the giftee.
No.
It's not a taxable event?
No.
Wow.
It's just a gift.
Hey. It's got to be a blood relation, though, doesn't it? Is that right or wrong?
It's just a
you
gift.
can get gift from anybody.
Yeah.
Hi there. My name's Doug Wag. I'm kidding.
So think about this, Doug. You mentioned if you want the gift to be specific.
Right.
I have a client wanted to gift son and daughter some money. Daughter's buying a new house. Son bought a new house.
Yeah.
They just they don't need the money and said, hey, we want to just give them the opportunity to be better off, not stressed out. They gave them each about $20,000. But what they did is they said, hey, here's 15, do whatever you want. This 5, you're going to call Roger and you're going to put it in a Roth IRA.
Right.
So they kind of gave it some direction because they understand the compounding interest effect for a 25-year-old who starts to put $5,000 a month in an IRA away.
Yeah.
What actually happens. But they left 15, do whatever you want with it. So go have some fun, do whatever.
No, that's critical. This is really neat. So, Janie, thank you very much for putting that in there. And hopefully you can make some memories either with the family or allow them to make memories either way, because I know intergenerational trips are really something that's popular too, where grandma or grandpa or grandma and grandpa both have the opportunity to hang out with the grandkids. And really, we've done those in the past, and they're actually wonderful. So highly encourage those. Highly encourage you to go to premieriwm.com, premieriwm.com, click Get Started, answer a few questions, and you will be presented with a one-page Premier Vision document and the opportunity to sit down with one of the folks at Premier Investments in Wealth Management. I encourage you to do that. If you're thinking, hey, I need to know if I'm ready for retirement, or I need to know if I can do one of these really neat things if I hit this point in my life where I have so much money that I can actually gift it to people, the people that I love, so that I can help to enrich their life. Find out just exactly how close you are to retirement, premieriwm.com, or click Get Started, or Roger, the phone number is
800-383-6590.
Back to listener questions, and Eric wants to know, my wife and I are in our early 40s. We've always managed our own investments. Now that our kids are getting older and more active in sports and activities, it's hard for me to find time to check in on our investment portfolio. We are considering working with a financial advisor. Is there anything in particular we should ask or look for when considering who to hire? Really good question. And first of all, it's like one of those things where if you've managed your own portfolio and you're busy, and now you're like, okay, I need to take something off my plate so I can get closer to my family. Really good idea to take this one off your plate, because you can't represent yourself in court well, and you're not your own doctor.
Yeah. So, Eric, thanks for the question. And I would say you fall in the vast majority of people where a couple things are happening. You're getting busier, but now you're 40 and retirement's becoming real.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this like 4 or 5 shows ago. I asked Elias, maybe it was on the podcast, but I asked Elias, how often do you think about life in retirement? Like what it looks like? He said, well, I think about retirement, but he doesn't think about life in retirement.
Right.
Because it's a little bit too far away. At 46, not only do I think about retirement, although level set, I don't really plan to retire, but I have a date that I call my financial independence date.
Yeah.
When I'll have the option to retire financially. I think about what I'm going to do. I don't think about getting there anymore, because I think I'm on track and I've done all the stuff that I talk to other people about. But I think about what am I going to do? And then how many good years do I have left in retirement?
Yeah.
Like, so for me, I'm going to front load the first 10 years.
You call that the go-go phase.
Yeah, I'm going to front load, because I watch it happen to everybody. I had a family practice doctor in here the other day. And anytime I hang out with doctors, I always ask the question. And I have lots of doctors who are clients. I work at the hospitals. Some of my good friends run the hospital. I ask them, what's the age when the body physically changes? And what do you think the very common age is, where like the body goes from this state where you can do most everything to the point where it starts to break down. You just can't do what you did before.
68.
It's a little older. It's 72 to 74.
Oh, okay. Well, good. I've got 15 good years left.
But I don't think people think about that.
Right. No,
they don't.
Right.
They think they're going to be in this health for the duration. And the reality is you're not. So because I see it every single day, if I retire at 62, man, the first 10 years I'm going to load up.
Yeah.
I know the next 10 years I'm coasting. And most people can do this with their own family tree, very simply.
Right.
Just go look at your family members. Go think about at age 80, what were your parents doing?
Oh, it was not good. Dad was taking care of mom, who is suffering from dementia.
Okay, so arguably they're spending very little money unless you need extended care.
Right.
What was life at 70 like?
Life was a little bit more, they were still active. They diminished in the amount of like food that they ate, but it was like they'd really pared back their life significantly.
Yeah. So I would tell you, if mom had dementia at 80,
Yeah.
you should plan in your good years something prior to that.
Yeah.
And then after that period of time, like it kind of is what it is. So I think that's happening in Eric's life. Like he's getting close to that point. How do you determine whether you need a financial advisor? We have lived by this model for a very, very long time. It's very simple. Ask yourself these 3 questions.
Okay.
Do I have the time? Do I have the desire? And do I have the knowledge to do this myself? And if you answer no to any of those 3 questions, then you delegate it to a professional.
Yeah.
Let's think about it. It's like the oil in your car, Doug. Do you have the time to change it?
You know what? I do now.
Maybe.
I've gotten more efficient with my life.
Do you have the knowledge to change it?
Yeah, I do.
Do you have the desire to change it?
Absolutely
So
not.
you take it to Jiffy
Not
Lube
anymore.
or Walmart or wherever you go.
Exactly.
It's the same thing. Because most people can learn skills.
Right.
But most people don't have the desire. And here's how I know most people don't have the desire to manage their own finances. They spend more time on their family vacation than they do on their money.
It's funny because I remember you bring up the change the oil analogy. That's what I used to do. I used to change the oil in my vehicles because I wanted both of my boys to see, hey, you can do things on your own. You just have to apply yourself. You have to educate yourself, and then you have to apply yourself and set and cut the time. Actually, it was nice because then we had the opportunity to get together and do things, and that's still something that goes on for them, is that when they have the opportunity, they do their own oil changes.
So I have a 4th one to add to this. You know, originally we literally started using this motto probably back in like 2007, but things have changed. So the 4th one we've added, do you have the technology to do this? Because with what's happened in our environment, technology has become so robust, we can just start to eliminate a lot of the questions that people have.
Yep.
How much can I spend? How long is it going to last? What's the asset allocation I should have? How much risk? All that stuff can be quantified by a financial plan. The cost for most people to go buy the software, one, then understand how the software actually works, and not make a mistake in the software, they're better off hiring a financial advisor to do this for them every single time.
That makes sense. It completely does make sense. And I'm going to tell you again, it makes sense for you to do this because if you, like you said, time, desire, knowledge, and then the technology, it's critical that you get this right. You can afford to make a mistake if you're a little bit younger because you can recover for it. But the older you get, the more mistakes you make, and even any mistakes you make can affect you negatively, critically. So you really can't afford it. Leave it in the hands of the professionals at Premier Investments and Wealth Management at premieriwm.com. Go to the website, click Get Started, answer a few questions. They will provide for you something called a Premier Vision document, and then they invite you to a meeting. It's no obligation, doesn't cost you a cent. You don't even have to bring anything in because they just want to sit down, go over the document with you, hand it off to you so you can actually use that to plan. And if you want to become a client, a customer, then go ahead, do what I did. Start off 2025 the right way. Go to premieriwm.com and click Get Started. Go through the paces. Roger, what's the phone number in case people want to call to make an appointment?
800-383-6590.
All right, one down, 51 to go. Yeah, or so, something like that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching to the Premier Investments and Wealth Management Financial Program. For Roger Abel, the rest of the staff, my name's Doug Wagner. We'll talk to you next week.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. The opinions voiced in this show are for general information purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial or tax advisor prior to investing. Premier Investments and Wealth Management and LPL Financial do not provide tax advice. Please consult your tax professional. Economic forecasts set forth may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that strategies promoted will be successful. There's no guarantee that a diversified portfolio portfolio will enhance overall returns or outperform a non-diversified portfolio. Diversification does not protect against market risk. All performance referenced is historical and is not a guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and cannot be invested into directly. There is no assurance that the techniques and strategies discussed are suitable for all investors or will yield positive outcomes. The purchase of certain securities may be required to affect some of the strategies. Investing involves risks, including possible loss of principal.